Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Talk English Today podcast. I'm Alex, and I'm so happy you're here with us today.
And I'm Aria. We are so excited to share another great episode with you. Every time we talk about learning English, we want to help you improve in an easy and fun way.
That's right. Learning English should not feel difficult or stressful. But for many learners, it feels like a big challenge. They spend years studying grammar, memorizing vocabulary, and doing exercises. But when it's time to speak, they freeze.
Exactly. Many learners feel nervous or shy. They don't know how to start a conversation. They worry about making mistakes, and that's why today's episode is so important.
Yes. The title of today's episode is Stop Studying, Start Speaking. If you've been learning English but still struggle to speak, this episode is for you.
We know that speaking English can feel scary at first, but don't worry. Today, we will share simple and easy tips to help you speak with confidence.
We will give you real-life examples, practical strategies, and useful advice. By the end of this episode, you will know how to start speaking every day without fear.
So, if you are ready to stop overthinking and finally start speaking English fluently, stay with us until the end.
This episode might change the way you learn English forever. So, grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's get started. Let's get straight to it. Many English learners study for years, but when they need to speak, they struggle. Why does this happen?
Great question, Alex. The truth is, studying alone is not enough. When you read or write in English, it's like practicing the rules, but speaking is a completely different skill. It's like learning how to swim by reading a book. You can learn all the theory, but you won't really learn how to swim until you get in the water and start practicing. The same goes for speaking English.
Exactly. Many learners think that if they study more, one day they will suddenly be fluent. But that's not how it works. Just like learning to swim, you can't just read a book about swimming. You need to actually swim. Similarly, you need to actually speak English every day to get better at it.
Yes, fluency comes from using the language, not just memorizing vocabulary or studying grammar. The more you use English in real-life situations, the faster you will improve. It's not enough to just know the words. You need to know how to put them together quickly and naturally when you're speaking.
So true. It's like when you're learning to play a sport. You can read books about basketball, watch videos, or listen to advice from players, but you won't really improve until you actually play the game. Speaking English is the same. You need to practice speaking with other people, even if you're not perfect.
Right. And let's talk about something that's very common. Learners often feel nervous. They think, what if I make a mistake? Or what if people don't understand me? But honestly, most people don't care if you make mistakes. They are usually just happy that you are trying to speak their language.
Absolutely. Mistakes are part of the learning process. You should never be afraid of making mistakes. In fact, the more mistakes you make, the faster you'll learn. It's like when a baby learns to walk. A baby falls many times, but each time they fall, they get a little bit better at walking. We should think the same way. Every mistake helps you learn something new.
Yes, babies never think, oh no, I fell down. I should stop trying. They just keep going, and that's what you should do too. If you make a mistake, don't worry. Just keep practicing and trying again. Each time you speak, you get better, even if it's just a little bit.
Here's another problem. Many learners focus too much on grammar. They believe that they must speak perfectly to be understood. They don't realize that native speakers don't always speak perfectly either. We make mistakes, use slang, and speak in short sentences. You don't have to speak like a textbook.
Exactly. And the most important thing is communication. Can people understand you? That's what matters most. If someone can understand you, then you're speaking well. You don't need to worry about saying everything perfectly.
Let me ask you this. When you travel to a new country, do you expect to speak perfectly? No. You just need to ask for directions, buy food, and do the basic things to survive. You just need to be understood, and that's the same with English. You don't need to use big words or long sentences. Start simple and keep talking.
Yes, and even when you make mistakes, people will understand that you are trying. They will appreciate your effort. Many people speak more than one language, and they know how hard it is. If you try to speak English, they will respect you for that.
Right. And there's something else that learners often miss. They believe they need to wait until they know more before they start speaking. But actually, you should start speaking from day one. Even if it's just a few words or simple sentences, it's important to start. Speaking every day is how you improve quickly.
That's a great point. Some people think, I need to know more grammar, or I need to memorize more vocabulary first. But if you don't speak, you will never get better at it. The most important thing is to speak, even if you only know a few words. The more you speak, the more words you will learn.
So let's say you know how to say, "Hello, how are you?" and "I'm fine." Even if that's all you know, start by using those phrases in conversations. Try speaking with people every day. Use simple sentences at first, and slowly you'll learn more words and phrases.
Yes, and speaking doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to speak like a professor. Just keep it simple. For example, when you ask for directions, you don't need to say, I would like to kindly request the most efficient route to my destination. You can just say, where is the bus stop? And that's enough. The goal is to speak simply and clearly.
Exactly. You can always improve and make your speech more complex over time, but at first, just focus on speaking and being understood. No need to worry about being perfect at the beginning.
Another big mistake is when learners focus too much on the fear of mistakes. They think, if I make a mistake, people will laugh at me. But the truth is, no one will laugh. People admire those who try to speak, even if they don't speak perfectly. Mistakes show that you're learning, and that's what matters.
So to wrap this up, if you've been studying English for a long time, but still feel nervous about speaking, it's time to change your focus. Instead of just studying more vocabulary or grammar, start speaking every day. Make mistakes. It's okay. The more you speak, the faster you'll improve.
And remember, mistakes are part of the process. They are not something to be afraid of. Just keep speaking, and with every conversation, you will get better.
Now that we know studying alone isn't enough, let's talk about something very important: the fear of speaking.
Have you ever heard learners say, I'm afraid I'll make mistakes, or what if people laugh at me?
Oh, all the time. Many learners feel nervous, shy, or even embarrassed when they try to speak English.
And you know what? That fear is completely normal. Learning a new language is like stepping out of your comfort zone. But here's the secret. Everyone makes mistakes. Even native speakers make mistakes sometimes.
Exactly. When you first start learning, it's easy to feel like you're the only one who makes mistakes. But the truth is, even native speakers don't speak perfectly all the time. We all make mistakes, and that's okay. The important thing is to keep speaking, even if it's not perfect. And remember, you can always learn from your mistakes.
That's right. You can even think of it this way. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn. When you make a mistake, you get the chance to remember it, learn the right way, and avoid it in the future. It's all part of the learning process.
And the problem is, many learners think they need to be perfect before they can speak. They think, I need to know all the grammar rules first, or I need to learn more words before I can talk to anyone. But here's the thing. Perfection is not the goal. Communication is. If people understand you, that's what really matters.
Yes, and it's important to realize that no one expects you to speak perfectly. Think about this. When you're speaking with someone, what do they really care about? Do they care about your grammar or accent, or do they just want to understand what you're saying?
They want to understand you. Communication is about sharing ideas, not about speaking perfectly. So, the next time you're afraid to speak, remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to communicate. And even if you make a mistake, people will usually appreciate your effort.
Here's a little exercise for our listeners. Think about a time when you met someone who spoke your native language but wasn't perfect. Maybe they made a small mistake or had a strange accent. Did you laugh at them, or did you appreciate their effort to speak your language?
Most people appreciate the effort. And when you hear someone speaking your language, even if they're not perfect, you understand that they are trying. So you should expect the same from others. No one expects you to be perfect. So instead of thinking, "What if I make a mistake?" logically try thinking, "Every mistake helps me improve." Each time you speak, you are getting better and better.
That's a great mindset shift. And another way to overcome fear is to start small. You don't have to give a big speech in English right away. Just start with simple sentences. Speak with friends, talk to yourself in English, or even speak in front of a mirror. This is a good way to practice without feeling too nervous.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to speak to a big group of people. Start with small conversations. You can talk to a friend, your family, or even a language partner. The important thing is to practice speaking every day, even if it's just a few words or a simple sentence.
One of my favorite methods is shadowing. This is a really fun way to practice. Listen to a native speaker, whether it's from a podcast, a movie, or a YouTube video, and then try to repeat what they say. Repeat it word for word. This will help you get used to speaking without overthinking. It also helps you sound more natural.
That's a fantastic tip, Aria. Shadowing is so helpful because it trains your brain to start thinking in English, and you'll feel more comfortable speaking without worrying too much about making mistakes. It helps you get used to the rhythm and flow of the language.
And don't worry about sounding perfect. Just focus on trying to copy what you hear as closely as possible. You're learning to sound more like a native speaker, and the more you do it, the more natural your speaking will become.
Another thing that really helps is to remind yourself why you're learning English in the first place. Why do you want to speak English? Maybe you want to travel, get a job, or make new friends. When you focus on your reasons, you'll realize that fear doesn't matter. Your goal is to communicate, and you're getting closer to your goal every time you practice.
That's a great point. Sometimes, when we're afraid to speak, we forget the reasons why we started. But if you remember your goals, the fear will seem smaller. Every time you speak English, you're one step closer to your dream. That should motivate you.
Right. And here's something else that can help. When you speak with others, they're usually very supportive. Most people who speak English know what it's like to be a beginner. They know you're trying, and they respect that. If they correct you, it's just to help you improve. They're not laughing at you.
Yes? And another thing you can do is find a language partner or a speaking group. Speaking with others who are learning just like you can be very comforting. Everyone is in the same boat, so there's no need to feel embarrassed. You'll be able to practice together and make mistakes without feeling scared.
Speaking in a group is really powerful. You can learn from each other, and it's not as scary when you're all speaking together. It's important to create a safe space where you can make mistakes without judgment. That's how you grow.
So, to all our listeners, don't let fear stop you. It's completely normal to feel scared, but remember that every time you speak, you're getting better. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
Exactly. You don't need to wait until you feel perfect or ready. You just need to start speaking. With every conversation, you will get more comfortable. So, let's stop worrying about mistakes and start enjoying the process of learning.
Yes, and remember, everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. The goal is not to be perfect. It's to communicate and have fun while learning. Keep practicing and don't be afraid to speak out loud. You'll be amazed at how quickly you improve.
So, let's do it, everyone. Speak every day, make mistakes, learn, and have fun. The more you speak, the more confident you will become. Keep going, and remember, the only way to get better is by practicing. Now that we've talked about fear, let's move to an important question. How can learners start speaking from day one?
Great question, Alex. Many people think they need to wait until they know enough before they start speaking, but the truth is, you should start speaking from day one.
That's right. And the best way to do that is to use the words and phrases you already know, instead of waiting to learn more. You don't need to know everything before you start. Even if you only know a few words, you can begin practicing right away.
Exactly. Every word you know is a tool you can use. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start speaking. The perfect moment is now. You can speak with the words you already have, and the more you practice, the more words you will learn.
So true, Arya. And speaking is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. If you don't start using it early, it's going to be harder to improve later. Starting from day one is key.
Let's share some simple ways to start speaking immediately. These methods don't need to wait for you to know everything. They're things you can do right now. 1. Talk to yourself in English. This is one of the easiest ways to start. You don't need anyone else to practice with. Describe what you're doing, how you feel, or what you see around you. For example, you can say things like, "I'm walking to the store. I feel happy today. The sky is blue and the sun is shining." This may feel strange at first, but it's a great way to practice speaking without pressure. Plus, it helps you think in English more naturally.
I love that tip. Talking to yourself may seem silly at first, but it really helps. It's like a warm-up for your brain. You can practice small sentences, and soon it will feel more natural to speak English. 2. Use shadowing. Another great way to practice speaking is shadowing. This means listening to a native speaker and trying to repeat exactly what they say. You can find videos, podcasts, or even movies where native speakers are talking. Repeat their sentences, word by word. For example, if you hear, "Hello, how are you?" repeat, "Hello, how are you?" It's like copying a model. This helps your pronunciation and helps you get used to the rhythm of the language.
Yes, shadowing is a fantastic tool. It might be hard at first, but don't worry. Just keep trying. The more you do it, the better you'll sound. And it's a fun way to learn because you're mimicking real conversations, which will help you feel more confident when you speak. 3. Keep it simple. Sometimes learners try to use difficult words or long sentences to sound smart, but that can make speaking harder. Instead, keep your sentences simple. Instead of saying, "I would like to express my gratitude for this wonderful meal," just say, "Thank you for the food." Simple is better, especially when you're starting out. The goal is communication, not perfection.
That's a great point. Keeping it simple makes you feel more confident. Plus, when you're speaking to others, they will appreciate that you are clear and easy to understand. You don't need to use big words to make an impact.
Exactly. And remember, everyone understands simple words. If you speak clearly, even simple sentences can show how much you understand, and with time, you'll naturally start using more complex sentences as you get better. 4. Speak with real people as soon as possible. I know this can be scary for many learners, but speaking with others is one of the fastest ways to improve. You can join an online English group, find a language partner, or even talk to strangers in English-friendly environments. Don't wait for the perfect time when you feel ready. The best time is now. Everyone starts somewhere, and speaking with real people is key to gaining confidence.
Yes, speaking with real people is essential because it helps you practice in real-life situations. You might feel nervous at first, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll become. It's okay if you make mistakes. What's important is that you're trying and you're learning as you go.
And don't worry if the conversation is short at first. Start small. Even if you only say a few words or sentences, you're still speaking. And with every conversation, you'll improve. Every bit of practice counts.
Right. Another great way to find speaking opportunities is to join local meetups or online language exchange platforms. There are many websites where you can find language partners who are also learning. You can help each other practice. You don't need to find someone perfect. Find someone who is learning just like you, and you'll both grow together.
And don't forget that technology makes it easier than ever to practice speaking. You can use apps to connect with language learners around the world. This means you can practice speaking every day, even if you don't have a local conversation partner. The world is full of opportunities to practice.
Exactly. There are so many ways to practice speaking today. No excuses. The key is to start small and be consistent. If you practice a little bit every day, even just a few minutes, you'll notice big improvements over time.
And speaking is a skill, just like any other. The more you practice, the better you'll get. If you start now, you'll be speaking with more confidence in no time.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is a lesson. The more you speak, the more you'll learn, and the easier it will become. You might not feel perfect at first, but that's okay. No one starts perfect. What matters is that you're speaking and getting better every day.
That's right. So let's make a challenge. For the next week, try to speak in English every day, even if it's just a few sentences. Talk to yourself, repeat what you hear, and find someone to practice with. You'll be amazed at how much you improve.
And don't worry if it feels hard at first. Every new skill takes time, but if you keep speaking, you'll get better faster than you think.
So, everyone, start speaking from day one. Use the words you know, practice every day, and keep it simple. The more you speak, the more natural it will feel. You've got this. Remember, the journey to speaking confidently starts now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Just start speaking today, and you'll improve every step of the way.
Now, speaking every day is important, but how can learners stay consistent?
Great question, Alex. The best way to improve speaking skills is through daily conversations. Speaking once in a while won't help much, but if you make it a daily habit, you'll see big improvements. The more you practice, the easier it becomes.
Yes. Just like how a musician practices their instrument every day, you need to practice speaking English every day. Even a little bit of speaking each day can help you get better and better.
Exactly. And the best part is, you don't need hours of practice. Even just 5 to 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference. You can find 5 to 10 minutes in your day, right? If you practice every day, those small moments add up, and before you know it, you'll be much better at speaking.
Right. And here's the good news. When you practice every day, you don't have to do it all in one go. If you don't have much time, it's okay. Just speak for a little while each day, and you'll see the results over time.
And if you're too shy to speak to others, you can start by speaking to yourself. That's also very helpful. You can talk to yourself in the mirror, or even while you're walking, cleaning, or doing anything around the house. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment or the perfect person to talk to. Start with yourself.
That's a fantastic tip. And here's another idea. Set a daily speaking goal. For example, you could try to say at least 5 sentences in English every day. Have a short conversation with one person daily.
Yes, the key is to be consistent. If you speak every day, you'll improve so much faster. And don't worry about making mistakes. You don't need to be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. Every time you speak, even if you make mistakes, you are learning.
Exactly. The key is to keep going. Even if you feel nervous or make a mistake, keep speaking. The more you speak, the more confident you will become. And the more confident you feel, the easier it will be to keep speaking every day.
And to everyone listening, remember, even if you make small mistakes, it's still progress. The important thing is that you keep speaking. Over time, those small mistakes will turn into fewer mistakes, and eventually, you'll speak more clearly and confidently.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to take small steps. It doesn't matter if you can't speak a long conversation right away. What matters is that you start. Every little bit counts. Try speaking for just a few minutes each day and see how much you can improve in just 1 month.
Yes, and the best way to stay consistent is by making speaking a part of your routine. You can practice right after breakfast, before bed, or even while doing simple tasks around the house. Find a time that works for you and stick to it.
Great advice, Arya. If you make speaking English a regular part of your day, it won't feel like a big challenge. It will just be a natural part of your day.
And don't forget, you don't need to wait until you are perfect. Speaking is about communication, not perfection. Even if you make mistakes, the person you are speaking to will understand you, and that's what matters the most.
Yes, when you speak, you are communicating your ideas, and that is the most important thing. Everyone makes mistakes, so don't let that hold you back. Every time you speak, you learn something new.
And remember, it's okay if it feels awkward at first. Everyone feels awkward when they start speaking a new language. It's completely normal. But the more you do it, the less awkward it will feel. So don't stop just because it's hard at first. It gets easier, I promise.
Exactly. And speaking every day will help you improve your confidence. You'll feel more comfortable using English, and one day you'll look back and realize how much progress you've made. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just keep practicing.
And for those of you who think you don't have enough time, let me tell you this. We all have busy lives, but we all have 5 minutes somewhere in our day. Whether it's waiting for the bus or while cooking dinner, you can always find small moments to practice speaking.
Right. And don't forget to use those small moments to practice speaking out loud. Even if you just repeat a sentence or talk about what you're doing, that's still practice. It all adds up.
Yes, and remember, it's not just about speaking, it's about building a habit. The more you make it part of your daily routine, the easier it will become. Soon, you'll be speaking English without even thinking about it. That's how you make real progress.
So, everyone, here's your challenge. Speak English every day, even for just a few minutes. You don't need to be perfect. Just speak. The more you speak, the better you will get. And every time you speak, you're getting closer to fluency.
And when you start speaking every day, you'll notice something amazing. You'll feel more confident. You'll be able to think in English, and your sentences will start to sound more natural. That's when you know you're on the right track.
Yes. And remember, confidence comes with practice. Every time you speak, you're building your speaking skills and your confidence. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are just steps towards success.
That's right, Alex. And if you keep up the practice, you'll see your progress quickly. Every small conversation, every sentence, and every word will add up to big improvements. You're on the right path, and you can do it.
Keep practicing, everyone. And as always, don't forget, every sentence you speak is a victory. So get out there, speak every day, and celebrate your progress along the way.
Wow, Alex, we've covered so many important points today. We talked about how it's not good to study too much without practicing, how to start speaking, how to find speaking partners, the importance of thinking in English, and most importantly, how not to be afraid of making mistakes.
Yes, that's right. And to all our listeners, remember, you don't need to be perfect to speak English. You just need to start. Starting is the most important thing. Don't wait until you know everything. Just speak and practice.
Exactly. Taking action today is the key. Find someone to speak with, practice thinking in English, and most importantly, speak every single day. The more you speak, the easier it will get, and the more confident you will become.
That's a great point, Arya. So everyone, don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. Start speaking today, even if it's just a few words. It will make a huge difference over time.
And remember, you don't have to speak perfectly. The goal is to communicate. It's okay to make mistakes. Every mistake you make is just part of your learning journey, and with each mistake, you're getting better.
Absolutely. And if you found this podcast helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share it with your friends. Let's help more people start speaking English with confidence.
Yes, share this with anyone who is learning English and needs a little extra encouragement. We want to help everyone feel confident speaking English.
Thanks for joining us today. We really hope you found this episode helpful. We'll see you in the next one. Keep speaking, keep learning, and most importantly, have fun with your English practice.
Yes, keep practicing. And remember, don't be afraid to make mistakes. The more you practice, the better you'll get. We believe in you.